You know that stand up and cheer moment when the curtain drops on that concert you've been waiting forever to see? That's the same feeling that auto dealers want to inspire in their customers when they hand over the keys to the customer's new rides.
I've got some big news. The bank finally came through. Now I'm holding the keys to a brand new Chevrolet.
But let's be honest, sometimes the way a dealership does business can sour the experience, but not at Volkswagen of Marion in Southern Illinois. Ashlee Church, general manager, is turning around those negative stereotypes, and she's bringing in all sorts of people to do it to make it a more approachable and enjoyable experience. We're going to find out how she's doing it and what it means to her. How would you sum up the state of the automotive industry in one sentence?
There's a lot that could be said. But I think full of opportunity. I think that there are just, consumer expectations are changing, digital marketing is changing. I know that we're going to chat some today about EVs and the landscape there. There are just so many things that are going on within our industry, but also for those who are not part of our industry, I think that that's a really core thing that I want them to know is that there is opportunity with this industry, and it's really important to me to share that too with people who have never thought of automotive as a career.
Yeah, okay, you brought it up. Let's dive into EVs because, the technology is interesting. What's your view of all the new technology that's coming in?
I think that it's all great. Whether we can get to these goals that I'm hearing of, whether that's 80% EV sales or things like that, I'm not sure about that. I am from the rural Midwest. I live in an area where we still don't have a robust electrical infrastructure as far as charging stations go. In our market, on average, consumers drive more miles. So when you're in a rural market, on average, someone is going to drive more miles. So I think that the statistics in our area are only about 20% of the people who work in the county that our dealership is in actually live in that county. We have what we call the Route 13 corridor, and so many people commute from 20, 30, 40 miles away from farmlands or where there's, not a lot of economic commerce. They commute to that Route 13 corridor, so there's a lot of driving back and forth, which also makes EV ranges and charging infrastructure a little bit more of a challenge than in some metro markets. So I think that we are a long way from adoption. I think that there is certainly potential, but I think that, electrical charging infrastructure, range, and charging time, I think that those are the key things that we keep talking about it as an industry. And I think that we are going to adopt EVs differently based on different geographical areas of the country.
Mm-hmm. On the consumer side, if I walk in and I want to buy an EV, right? Immediately I think of, man, this is a larger investment than I'm used to buying a car, right? I'm gonna have to put charging in at home to some degree, and that's kind of on me. The cars are more expensive. The life cycles might be a little different, or expectations there. On the dealer side of what do you have to invest in to make sure that I'll be successful in purchasing that product, and what do you have to kind of educate and invest in on your side?
There is a lot of investment on the dealership side. You need a different lift in your service department. Your technicians need different training. You need, they have these crazy NASA-looking spacesuits when they have to open up a battery and work inside of it. We need an EV quarantine area on our lot where a vehicle that is having battery issues can go. And then obviously the electrical charging infrastructure, we've also invested in that at the dealership. And then there's a lot of training that goes in as well to educate the sales team as well as, service and all those other departments within the dealership.
Super interesting. Did you put charging in at your location?
Sure. So with VW, there was an opt-in to sell EVs. So if you didn't opt into the program, you're not able to sell EVs. And with VW, there were two levels of opt-in. So you could just sell EVs, or you could also become a battery repair facility as well. And those were two different levels of investment, I guess you would say, in terms of the equipment, training, those things. We did decide to invest in both, so our dealership is heavily invested in EV, and we want to be prepared for that to serve those customers as well.
Just as adopting EVs at a dealership is more complicated than it might appear to an outsider, so too is what goes on day to day behind its doors. Dealerships comprise several different departments, which often are siloed, inspiring a sense of competition and hierarchy instead of camaraderie and teamwork that is needed to row the company in the same direction. But at Volkswagen of Marion, Ashlee has set up a culture to change that.
I tell people, like, especially when we're onboarding new team members, I will tell them when you drive by, you have no idea all the things that go on behind the doors. Right. So we have retail, we have fixed operations, we have detail, we have marketing, we have administrative. There's just so many things that happen within a dealership. It's really like you're operating 4 or 5 different businesses within one, and they're all unique and they all have their own unique personalities and challenges and team members that staff them. And within a lot of dealerships, unfortunately, there's this stigma, I guess, that all the departments are for themselves. You don't have a lot of interdepartmental collaboration. For those who have worked in dealerships before, from a lot of them I hear, oh, you know, our used car department can't get along with our service department, or the parts department can't get along with service. But one of the things at VW Marion, we have a really strong set of core values, and one thing that is very important to me is that our leaders work interdepartmentally to unify our teams. And that is something that we remind them of all the time, and that we are one business moving in one direction, even though we're all different businesses that operate within one.
Yeah, how do you get people to do that? How do you, like, is there what training is there, what resources are there, or even just kind of what daily motivational reminders do you kind of do?
Sure. You know, I think first off, you have to show the way. You have to show that example to your team that not one department matters. So as a GM, it's very important to me that my service manager knows that he is just as important as the person who manages my new and my used car inventory. It's important that our technicians know that they're valued and appreciated, and that the salespeople aren't more important than the technicians or the people who work in detail. So another one of our core values is that no department is more important than another, and all of our employees work together for our collective success. And so I think that you know, coming from the top is important. Also, I have had the unique ability to build a dealership from being employee one. So really being able to set that expectation with my team that this is how we're going to do it, there is no other way, has been beneficial to us.
This isn't the only sentiment that Ashlee brings down from the top. One of Ashlee's passions is seeing more diversity in dealerships, and she's committed to making Volkswagen of Marion a model of what that can look like and how positively it affects the customer experience.
We also have a lot of diversity in our dealership, and it's not to say that a woman has to work with a woman when she comes in to buy a car. I've got women on my sales floor. We're actually 50% women on the sales floor. But when a family comes in and they see other women in the dealership, they don't feel like it's somewhere that they don't belong. So even if they work with one of my male sales reps or my sales manager, it's not the intimidation factor of feeling like, wow, I don't know if I should be here, or I don't know if I can trust these people. So I think that there's a lot that goes into it, but it really starts with the customer experience, and that starts with your team understanding, again, that we're all one team and we all have one goal here to serve our clients.
How do you make it welcoming to people to come into this as a profession, or to help women come into it, make it approachable and make it something that they want to do or are interested in?
Sure. You know, I think today we're at a different point than you would be at a dealership starting with no diversity, right? Today, when women come in and interview, they interview with me, or you know, they see other women within the dealership. So I think that they think of it more as an opportunity for them. Though, in terms of building a dealership and encouraging more women to join, I actually don't tell my male managers that they have to hire women. I don't think that that would go over all that well, right? And do the women working in the dealership really want to feel like they were hired just because Ashlee said that we were going to hire more women? Right. I don't believe that they would want that to be the case either. We have women working in every single department in our dealership: parts, sales, service, the detail department, administrative, marketing, and even our executive leadership team at the family dealerships level is 50% women. When I have a job opening, though, what I encourage my team to do and my managers to do, or actually I require it, is I require them to interview a diverse candidate pool. And so if they have done all of their interviews and they're ready to make a job offer, but they've hired all people who have the same background, who look alike, who may all be men, I am not going to give the final hiring approval for that position until we go back and interview a more diverse pool of candidates. So that it can be challenging because my managers will tell me, well, there are none. So we've had to look at interesting ways to change that. Number one, being able to be out in the community community and, just network and having people who I meet in the community who I think may be able to join the dealership, but also looking at things as simple as our job titles. We had an opening for an express service advisor, and almost all the applicants for that position were men. We changed the job title to Express Customer Service Liaison, posted the exact same job posting, exact same compensation, exact same job duties, and went from a job ad that generated almost all male applicants to a job ad that generated the majority of female applicants. So by just changing that and giving people, hey, you know what, I don't know if I could be a service advisor, but I think I could be a customer service liaison. I never thought I could do service before. And then you get the opportunity to talk to a wider range of people. And from that, we ended up hiring a woman for the position. But it's not just about hiring them, it's also about retaining them. And some of the things that we do in dealerships are just simply terrible. When there was a study that was done, and when women were asked why they didn't consider a career in a dealership, most people think it's because of flexibility or the working hours. Those were actually number 2 and 3. The number 1 was the unattractive work environment, or their perception of the unattractive work environment. The jokes that are told behind closed doors, what is being said in your offices, what your manager says about a woman who is attractive when she walks onto the showroom floor about, oh, I'd love to have a date with her, and you've got a female sales rep. They're not going to take kindly to that. Also, I think a big piece of it is how we take care of our customers, because women on average, we care very much, and not that men don't, but we care very much about the customer and about customer service. So if you bring women onto your sales team and then you don't take care of customers after the sale, you are not going to retain them. And I think that that's an important piece of not only bringing diversity into the dealership, but also maintaining it, is having a really strong culture of taking care of your customers. I think it just creates an environment that women are more attracted to. And a lot of men, especially men in the car business, because we do tend to have a lot of white men in the car business, don't understand what it's like to be what we call the only woman, the only black person in the room, those kind of things. I had a sales training not long ago. We do training on Monday and Friday mornings, and I came into our Friday morning training, and because of the sales schedule, we had moved around some people, and I had 4 reps in training that day. 3 of them were women, and one of them was one of my guys. And so I'm training, I've got 3 other women, and then I've got Tyler there, and Tyler walks in, he goes, well, this is weird. I said, well, Tyler, welcome to how almost every other woman in the car business feels every time she comes to a sales meeting. Yeah. And it was interesting just to see that moment of reflection on his face where he thought, this would be kind of, interesting. And it's not so much, in terms of, outward discrimination. It's the conversations that happen. Are they always about the football games? Are they always about this? Do you feel like you fit in? Right. And when I see my sales reps, 3 of the ladies going out and getting pedicures and then posting on Facebook one night, I'm like, wow, we are really doing something right, where we've got a group of people who not only are friends at work, but they're also engaging. And it makes them feel welcome. It makes them feel like they're in an environment where they belong. And when our team feels that way, we're also able to make our clients feel that way.
Right. Ashlee knows that the car buying experience can be intimidating for customers, and that many practices in the dealership industry have promoted that stigma. So her challenge is twofold. She wants to keep her customers coming back, and she wants to retain her best and brightest employees. So she's created a culture at Volkswagen of Marion where transparency with the customer is key. I think even myself, as someone who's bought a car before, it's intimidating walking into a dealership. It seems complex, cars are expensive, I need something that's gonna meet my needs and my budget, and it can't, I get the feeling, even just personally, you walk in ready for kind of a confrontation, right? Or negotiation is hard, and if you're not used to it, it can be very intimidating. How do you work through that or try to change that experience for your customers?
Really trying to be customer centric. And when you look at our Google reviews, the ones that, get my heart going are the ones that talk about the feeling in the dealership. And it all starts from that person who's sitting at the front desk being welcoming to you and making you feel like this is somewhere that you belong. and just being easy to do business with, being transparent, giving the customers the information that they're asking for, and letting them know, hey, we are here to assist you with buying a car. We really want to earn your business, but at the end of the day, we want to do it your way. So we want to help you navigate that process. It's a difficult process. Not everyone is happy with their trade value. Some clients owe more on their trade than what they're worth.
Yes.
Interest rates are a little bit high, so it might be higher than your last car. So it's not to say that there's not going to be difficult conversations throughout the process or things that you may not love in the transaction, but it's about you trusting us and feeling like we're not misleading you, because I think that is, our industry has just gotten a really bad reputation over the years of that we will say anything to sell a car.
Right.
And people have the perception of, hey, you only get paid if you sell a car. Right. I do think that is a challenge in our industry, is compensation structures, when you only compensate your sales team when they sell a car. So we have a salary plus bonus structure. So I think that some of the structural things we do make that mentality a little bit different.
You mentioned that you have salespeople that are paid on salary plus as opposed to just pure commission, right? Which is kind of it's a very different approach than my assumption of what the industry is, right? What is your take on some of the pricing transparency and how you work with your sales team and that kind of stuff as it relates to the consumer, than how it relates to how you motivate?
Yeah, I believe that how we're going to transact, we need to be transparent with that with our clients. So one of the first things that I will tell our sales team when we start training new reps is I'm never going to expect you to be dishonest or mislead a customer. Not only am I not going to expect it, I am not going to allow it. It is so important that, in an industry that consumers rightfully so have been afraid to trust dealerships. And frankly, we earned that reputation as an industry. So we have to almost go the other way for consumers to be able to trust us and to earn their trust back. The last couple years has been interesting in automotive, especially with supply constraints. So we are seeing incredibly large vehicle addendums, market add-ons, those kind of things. While I have no problem with those on the surface, my issue becomes when they are not included in advertising. So I believe that the price that a consumer sees on our website is the price that they should be able to come in and transact on the vehicle. But we are in a world of competition. We are in a world of the third parties driving who is listed first by the price that the vehicle is. And we are now even seeing, this has even moved from new cars and moved into the used car side of things as well, where now we're even seeing people not list their reconditioning costs and the price of their cars on some of the third party websites. And then they'll come in and they'll say, well, there's a $1,500 reconditioning fee. So yes, I had the cheapest, Volkswagen Jetta certified pre-owned in the market, but there's another $1,500 fee tacked onto that. We don't engage in those consumer tactics. We want to make sure that we have a transparent approach. I think that it allows us to hire a different type of sales rep. When you expect people to tell the customer one thing on the phone, and then when they get to the lot, you want them to tell them something different, I am now hiring from a different group of people who are willing to do that. I am hiring from a group of people who, may tell them things that you wouldn't even want, to mislead, or just, oh, hey, FWD, that stands for four-wheel drive, not front-wheel drive, Those are the kind of people that we bring into the industry when we have that expectation that that's what they're going to do.
What are your feedback loops for making sure that you're doing that?
Obviously, the feedback loops that we have in as far as Google reviews, Volkswagen does surveys with our customers, and all of those metrics look great, right? But to me, it's when I walk through the showroom floor and there's 4 customers there getting ready to take delivery of a car and they're smiling. Or I hear them walk into the finance office and I hear them say, you know what, Jay, we are here for the 4th time buying another car from VW of Marion because your service department is the best service department that I've ever worked for. And just being able to be on the ground level and experience with the customers and see how they go through it and see that they're happy within the process tells me that we're doing something right.
Ashlee Church is the vehicle care rock star, lifting others up onto the dealership stage with her and showing them that they too can be leaders in the automotive space. She's an inspiration to all women in the industry. Be sure to check out all our conversations with Ashlee, and thank you for watching Vehicle Care Rockstars.
Let's go, girls.